Hello everyone, I'm back here again with another tutorial, and this time we're going to be covering the basics and the fundamentals of anatomy. So right now we are actually going to be drawing uh, the body figures of a man and a woman, just the basics of anatomy. And we can start this process by drawing stick figures. Stick figures is actually a cool way to start if you're a beginner. So you could draw a stick figure of the head, the shoulders, the chest, the torso, and the leg. Just draw these stick figures well, and then you add in simple shapes like cylinders, squares, circles, to block out the body parts, and that will make it easier because when you use shapes to draw, it makes the figure look three-dimensional. So you start with the stick figures, then you continue with simple shapes, like I'm doing right here, and always think about the joints. Think about the joints of where the arm is connecting to the shoulders, of where the shoulders is connecting to the elbows, and things like that. And this is how you should actually approach it's a very good way to approach drawing body figures, but it's not the only way. There are many other ways you can do it, but based on my experience and based on how I started off practicing how to draw anatomy, this is what really worked for me. So if you really want to nail this anatomy, just start with the basics and you're gonna get there. So once you get to that step, right, the next thing you have to do is actually look at body parts. Make sure you know how body parts look like. Make sure you know what the head looks like. Make sure you know what the neck looks like. Make sure you know what the chest, the torso, the abdomen, the shoulders, the biceps, the triceps. Try to study it. And if you want to know what they actually look like, just type in Google, type anatomy, human anatomy references, or pose anatomy references, and look at how these figures of how these body parts look like. Look at 3D models of anatomy references. Type that on Google and you're gonna see it. So, and another thing is that do not rush this process. Trust me, do not rush this process. I'm warning you. Just take your time. Start with the stick figures, then you go to the shapes. And if you're not ready to draw the basic anatomy of the human body yet, don't do it yet. Just stick with the stick figures. Then draw the simple shapes, because if you're in that step and you're still trying to figure it out, make sure you handle those shapes really well. And once you get the hang of it, right, then you can go into drawing the details of the body part of a man and a woman. I'm just giving you that advice because it will really give you a strong foundation on how to draw a man and a woman's body. It will help you out in order to draw them really well, and your drawing is going to look really great, and you're going to be a master of anatomy. Just take it step by step. Do not rush it. Just take your time. Once you start with the stick figures, stick figures are pretty easy for some people, but try to start with the stick figures, then you go to the shapes, and take your time when you're drawing these shapes. Do not rush it. Take your time to do it. Then you can go in details of how the head is drawn, the face angles of the head is drawn, the shoulders, the neck, the chest, the abdomen, the torso. Then you can go into those parts. So if you follow this type of steps and process, you will really have a strong foundation on how to draw a male anatomy and a female anatomy. Like, you will conquer the anatomy game when it comes to art. And a lot of artists don't really know where to start. Well, I'm giving you a clear step on how to get started in anatomy. And to be honest, as an artist, personally, anatomy was actually the most easiest for me, because it's just focusing on the male and the female body parts, different builds of different males, different builds of different females, whether the person whether the person is skinny, or is thin, or is a little bit above, the average size, and things like that. So, that was pretty much easy, but the challenging thing is actually putting everything together, drawing the backgrounds, lighting, effects, and all those things. So if you think that anatomy is hard, I just want to break it to you that, trust me, it is not. Just follow this simple process, and you're gonna get it right. And a lot of people struggle with anatomy because of the rule of foreshortening. And don't worry about that, we're gonna cover that in the next video. That's gonna be like another video entirely for foreshortening, because that's what's gonna make your drawings and your art look dynamic and cool. And from there, we're actually going to go into backgrounds. Then from backgrounds, coloring. Then coloring, I might have to give you guys a test. Like, you would actually be full blown illustrators, animators, and comic book artists. And the goal is to actually make you the best artist as much as possible, the best as possible. That's basically the goal of this channel. Anyone who subscribes to me and watches my video is going to be the best artist around, particularly manga artists, comic artists, cartoonists, and things like that. So I digress. So let's get back to the anatomy. Drawing the female anatomy and the male anatomy are quite different, because men, their shoulders are broad. Just keep this in mind, that a man, you know what a man looks like, you know what a woman looks like. So man's anatomy, you draw it with, you have to think of broad and strong and sharp angles when it comes to male anatomy. Just keep that in mind. And when drawing a female anatomy, just think of round, soft, thin, soft shapes when thinking of a woman's anatomy, because a woman's body is round and it's soft. A man's body is much more rigid. So always think of those things when drawing a male and a female anatomy. And if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. You can subscribe, like, share, and I'll be back with another one. Peace.